Hi, and thank you for letting me talk to you about something rare in journalism conferences these days. I want to talk to you about content, on why we are here, about the role of journalism, of how we can be meaningful again in the eyes of an audience which is turning its back to traditional news media these days. Not only because the change of news habits and change of technology, but because they do not trust us to give them the full picture of the world. Because they're fed up with the negativity we sell them in news with a label that we call, "This is the news, this is the world," but is it? I still remember exactly when I realized that I had to change myself. I've been in journalism for 30 years, and I had to try to change my beloved and troubled profession too. It was a nice evening on September 5th, 2008. I came home like 100,000 of other people in my country and placed myself in front of the television with my family. Welcome to TV-avisen. There's a terror threat against Denmark, new shooting incidents in Copenhagen, new trains delivered with a big delay. They're from Italy. What did they expect? Young girls get cancer. Bus strike continues. Women sexually abused and abducted in a cottage in Sweden. Political party in crisis. Old presidential candidate in US in a crisis. Court case after a plane crash with hundreds of deaths. Suppressed North Koreans works out. Giant spider spreads panic in Liverpool. And finally, the weather forecast, the rain continues. Holy mole. Nothing was wrong with any of these stories. That all followed the news criteria, but was it actually the true picture of the world that day? And if not, what are we actually doing at DR, where I am news director, and what are we doing in my profession? A good story doesn't have to be a bad story, as me and my colleagues have been educated for the last 30 years. And we learned already on the first day at journalism school that a good story is a bad story. And we quoted the former editor of the Times saying, "Before interviewing any politician, ask yourself, why is this bastard lying to me?" At DR, we try to remember that our job is to throw light, not to spread darkness and unnecessary fear. That's what the constructive news is all about. To help us remember that our job is to see the world with both eyes. Not only the journalistic eye, which only focuses on the things that do not work, all the problems, all the conflicts, all the wars, all the crooks, but that we report both on the problems, ask critical questions, and do stories that inspire, look for ways out, and thereby enhance the quality of the public debate. A focus on at least one constructive story in every news bulletin is not the only reason that our main news show, TV-avisen, at 9:30 p.m., is now by far the biggest news show in the country. But it does help. Last night, more than 800,000 viewers in a country with less than 6 million people watched our main news show. It has never happened before. Media struggling for a future have to understand that we probably will get the same results that we have always gotten if we go on doing what we have always done. So if we're not satisfied with the current situation where people in the millions are turning away from traditional newspapers and broadcast, here's a good idea. Change. Constructive news, which is now in its circulation in English and published in German this week, is a firing squad aiming at the bad habits in news journalism. But it's also a handbook on how to, in our daily work, benefit to the societies and democracies we actually are here to serve. Now, have we actually changed, or are we just talking about and writing about it? To answer, here's TV-avisen exactly 6 years after that evening that came to be my moment of truth. TV-avisen, September evening in 2014, went like this. Welcome to TV-avisen. New plan to stop young immigrants fighting to Syria and help Islamic State. DR cuts its budget and invests in the future of public service. Billions to science at the university in Aarhus. Public trust in taxation system drops dramatically. How can it improve? Opposition plans to spend more money to help patients with cancer. Heavy rain hits Western Denmark. Here's how to prepare for next time. Teenagers do not have earlier sexual debut than 50 years ago. 1,200 prisoners set free in eastern Ukraine while hope for peace grows. Politicians tried to prevent Scotland to vote for separation from Great Britain. 1,600 African refugees rescued in the Mediterranean. British princes expect a second child. An old murder mystery in London solved with DNA technology. A local citizen fight myth about local supermarkets and help them survive. And finally, the weather. Rain yesterday, but more sunny days on its way. It's not even a lie. This is Constructive News. Thank you for listening. Have a great conference.